Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable, the first examiner, Miss Cutraudatul Miski MPD. The Honorable, the second examiner, Miss Zeli Putriani MPD. The Honorable, the third examiner, Miss Doctors Aisyah Zulkifli MPD. The Honorable, the fourth examiner, Miss Kurnia Budianti MPD. My name is Ainun Buru Nasution. I am English education student, semester 8. In this video, I would like to present my thesis PowerPoint. My thesis entitled The Correlation Between Learner Autonomy and English Proficiency at the 11th grade students of Manwan Pekanbaru. Now we are going to the definition of learner autonomy and English proficiency. According to Holek, in 1981, learner autonomy is the ability to take charge of one's own learning. It means the student has the responsibility of their own learning, whether in classroom or out of classroom. And based on Sultan 2008, English proficiency divided into two forms. Structural proficiency, which refers to the mastery of discrete language elements, for example, morphemes, sounds, and grammar rules, while the second is functional proficiency, which refers to the ability applying language appropriately in the particular context, for example, classroom type vocabulary, knowledge, and others. And in this research, I, as the researcher, took the definition of English proficiency based on Solorzano that cited in Andas Heva book, which state that English proficiency definition typically include items tied to academic subject matter or state standards rather than testing explicit language skill. The next is background of the problem. Learner autonomy is characteristic demanded of most learners in today's globalized world. Learner autonomy is also effective than non-autonomy learner, and English proficiency also affect students' English proficiency. Based on some relevant journals that I have read, most of the research that conduct this topic choose the sample or the subject of the research as the higher education or the higher education students, for example, university students. So in this research, I would like to take the senior high school student as my subject, and also the previous studies also find some different finding of the research. Some of the research find that there is significant correlation between learner autonomy and English proficiency, while some of them find different finding that there is no significant correlation between learner autonomy and English proficiency. The next is preliminary research. The preliminary research conducted in January 2020, which state that I interviewed the Chief of Language Laboratory, MMRD, and I find the fact that some of the students just given all the control of their learning to what teachers provide, because traditionally learners were seen as passive learners who expected everything from their teachers, and it related with the curriculum 2013 that the role of student is the center of classroom. So the student and the learner has same role to collaborate in achieving their learning goals. And the next is limitation of the problem. This research will focus on the correlation between learner autonomy and English proficiency at the 11th science class of Manwan Pekanbaru. The formulation of the problem: A. How is students' learner autonomy at Manwan Pekanbaru? B. How is the students' English proficiency at Manwan Pekanbaru? And C. Is there significant correlation between students' learner autonomy and English proficiency at Manwan Pekanbaru? The next is indicators of learner autonomy. The first indicator is determining the objectives. The second indicator is defining the contents and progressions. And the third indicator The third indicator is selecting methods and techniques to be used. And the fourth indicator is monitoring the procedures of acquisition. And the fifth indicator is evaluating what has been acquired. The next is literature review. The grand theory that I find to correlate the learner autonomy and English proficiency is based on Benson and Huang 2008 in Miertawan 2013, which state that success in foreign language acquisition is determined by the extent to which students achieve and exercise autonomy in relation to their learning. So it shows that the learner autonomy has correlation with English proficiency. The next is operational concept of variable x. It stated by Oxford 1999, which classifying the indicators into three categories. That the students are expected to be able centering their learning, which this point comprise three subpoint. The third is the students are be able to arrange and plan their learning. It comprises 5 subpoint, and the third point is the students are able to evaluate their learning. It comprises 2 subpoint. The next is students' language proficiency indicator. According to Breyer, 1962, state that indicators to determine students' language proficiency consists of 2, proficiency and comprehensiveness. So the student are be able to show the proficient in English language, and they are also be able to communicate and comprehend effectively in English, whether for speaking, listening, reading, and writing. The next is assumption and hypothesis. The research assumes that students' learning autonomy has correlation with English proficiency. And the hypothesis, null hypothesis, there is no significant correlation between students' learning autonomy and English proficiency at the 11 grades of 1 Pekanbaru. And alternative hypothesis, there is a significant correlation between learner autonomy and English proficiency at the 11 grades student of 1 Pekanbaru. The next is research methodology. This research conducted in quantitative research, especially correlational research design, time and location. The data was collected in April to June 2020 in academic year 2020 and 2021 in Jalan Banding number 3 Pekanbaru. Subject is the class 11 grade student of 1 Pekanbaru, and the object is learner autonomy and English proficiency. The next is population of the research. The population consists of 169 students that consists of 5 classes, and the sample of the research is took in use Slovene formula that you can see on the slide, and the level of tolerance is 1000. From the formulation, from that formula, we can get that the sample of the research is 70 students. The next is validity, reliability, and also prerequisite analysis that you can see on the slide. And the next is techniques of collecting the data. The variable X was taken by using questionnaire, while the variable Y was taken with documentation that provide the students mean score of English subjects in the examination. The techniques of analyzing the data for variable X and Y is descriptive statistic formula, and for the test of correlation or the test of hypothesis, person product moment is used. Okay, the chapter 4 is data presentation and data analysis. Based on the slide, we can see that the level of students' learner autonomy is is good, middle, because the main score is in the 57.129. And for the variable y, the level of students' English proficiency is categorized into good because the main score is in the 90.879. In the and it is the data presentation of the learner autonomy. In learner autonomy, there are 3 interval score divided into low, middle, and high. While for English proficiency, the interval divided into four: less, enough, good, and very good. For the prerequisite analysis, it finds that the normality of these two data is normal because the significance is higher than 0.05. You can see the red number, and in the linearity, there is also the linearity between the learner autonomy and English proficiency because the significant value is higher than 0.05, no, 0.05. The next is the test of hypothesis by using person product moment. It was analyzed by using SPSS 25 and find that there is, we see the significant two-tailed that 0.018 is lower than 0.05. It means there is correlation between learner autonomy and English proficiency. And to see the level of the proficiency, we can see the person correlation 0.282, which we compare to the correlation coefficient that the person correlation is in the range of 0.200 into 0.400. It means the students' English proficiency, which means the correlation of students' learner autonomy and English proficiency is in the low level. So the conclusion, the learner autonomy at the 11th grade student of Mon Pekanbaru was categorized as middle, and the English proficiency of 11th grade student of Mon Pekanbaru is categorized as good. And from the data analysis that was analyzed by using person product moment through SPSS 25, find that the result showed that significant R obtained value is lower than alpha value, and the value of R obtained is 0.282, higher in the R table 0.235. It means there is a positive correlation between students' autonomous learning and English proficiency at Mon Pekanbaru. And in line with the correlation coefficient, the level of learner autonomy and English proficiency is categorized into low level in range 0.200, 0.200 into 0.400. Thank you for attention. Sorry for any misspelling, misunderstanding, and also mispronunciation. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.